Imagine having an AI-powered search engine for candidate profiles from across the open web and even from within your own ATS. Well, that's exactly what HireTool is. HireTool is a global talent platform that serves all recruiters, from small businesses to the world's largest enterprises. And with 750 million plus profiles from over 45 open web sources and channels and 30 plus integration partners, there's literally something for everyone. Recruiters can find more talent with AI sourcing, send unlimited emails, and integrate with your favorite recruitment tools all in one platform. If you're spending hours looking for qualified candidates, underrepresented talent, and updated contact information, then HireTool is probably what you need for your toolkit. HireTool is a platform that helps great recruiters accomplish more every single day. Check them out at hiretool.com. Everybody, welcome back to HR Famous. Here's another episode. It's just the two boys weekend here at the HR Famous podcast. Katie and I, Jessica had end of year, way too much work to do, or too many holiday parties. I got lost in that text stream of was it work or too many holiday parties that she had that she couldn't come on to record. And then I have a holiday party next week. So then it's just going to be you two recording, Katie, next week. So I got with me my best friend, Kris Dunn. How are you doing, buddy?
Apparently I'm the workhorse this month of the HR Famous podcast. It's good to know.
Hey, in the summer, I think JLee and I did a bunch without you. So
there's been a couple times, but I'm going to lean into leadership this month, Tim, because it's okay. You know, apparently we're not spreading as much holiday cheer. I think JLee's out there leading somewhere.
She's leading.
She's being excellent. And that's what she does. And we'll carry on, ratings will be down, or at least playthroughs will be down as people abandon, as I'm saying this sentence, knowing that JLee's not here. And that's okay. We'll soldier on.
Well, yeah, the JLee HR Famous fan club is big. There's a lot of individuals that tune in. Most of her family tune in just to listen to her wax poetically on leadership concepts that you and I still struggle with on a daily basis.
Well, the family members should stay tuned because we're going to weave our views, really our respect for JLee throughout this podcast.
For sure.
Weave all that in.
Yeah.
It kind of becomes a what would JLee do?
Yeah. It's been a couple of weeks since we've recorded because one of us took off on an extended holiday, and that being me. And if you follow me on Instagram, shout out, ding, follow Tim on Instagram for great content. You got a lot of Maui, Hawaii photos, Katie. Did you enjoy those?
I did. Did I get the same ones people on the IG, on the gram were getting? Because I thought I had special service.
I probably got you a few more than what I don't, you can't overwhelm the gram. That's the key. You can only go with a few there. So you probably got a little bit more. Plus there were some trips that you probably got some pictures of that I didn't send everybody else just because, that was just more kind of personal anyways.
I think
so. Yeah. I was in Maui for 2 weeks, 1 week with the kids, 1 week with just the missus and I, kind of celebrating our anniversary. And we laugh because we'll actually be married 30 years next year. But we kept telling people it was our 30th anniversary because it was kind of like celebrating an anniversary from a few years ago.
Seems kind of special, right? You're going to Hawaii for 2 weeks. You don't do that on number 18 or 28. So I think you were telling people that because they were just what kind of baller?
Yeah, it comes on 29.
Am I looking
29
at
and a half.
You're on 27 and you're coming to Maui? What can you possibly do for 30? Are you gonna are you gonna be with Richard Branson?
Yeah, the moon.
On a space flight. Hey, by the way, did you see the stat? Speaking of your vacation in your carbon footprint, Tim.
Yes.
There was a stat I just saw today that Amazon founder, Jeff, how do you say his last name? I always screw it up.
Bezos.
Totally jacked, by the way. Go look at those photos online.
He's got a trainer.
Boy, has he changed.
He's got a trainer and a dietitian. Yeah.
Here's how else it's changed. So he goes to space, 9-minute space flight. And there was a stat out there today that his carbon footprint for the 9-minute space flight was equal to the all-time carbon contributions of 1 billion people on Earth. Obviously, it's the 1 billion people on Earth without access to cars and things like that. But somebody rolled out that stat just to go at him. And then, of course, there was a senator who had to comment on it. But do you believe that 9-minute space flight? Speaking of your future 30th anniversary with Richard Branson in low space.
So mine was probably like 1,000 people, my carbon footprint to Maui. If his was 1 billion, maybe it was 10,000.
It's tough scene.
Tough scene. Yeah, no, we had a great time. I've never been to Hawaii, KD. So first time, I think, and people, like I already have had, I told people, like I wrote a blog post and kind of gave like, hey, here's all the cool stuff you can do in Maui. So now I'm a travel blogger as well. So check me out.
I think the 15th picture I got from you, Tim, it was like a waterfall, and I couldn't resist cracking on the fact that it was a muddy pool like underneath it. You don't see those on the normal travel blogs. So it's this like 100-foot waterfall. It is pristine, but you went in too wide.
Yeah,
like, I got look at all that sediment in that pool.
I didn't get the day that had been like, hadn't, like the wash hadn't been, completely done.
Can't they get somebody like, from the from the venue to go in and like put some color, like
some kind of water clear in there,
some aqua in that? Hey, by the way, I know the listeners are dying for my Hawaii experience. I was telling you offline, the last time I was in Hawaii was a long time ago, playing basketball.
88. What you got? Like
probably 88, 89. Yeah. And I had to guard John Starks for the basketball fans. And then
John Starks is known as a New York Knick, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I had to, then I got food poisoning in Hawaii. And then we traveled dream, by the way. Everybody dreams of this. I went from Hawaii to Fairbanks, Alaska. Same trip.
By the way, I do want to go to Alaska because we saw whales in Hawaii, and then all the people are like, "Oh, you should see them in Alaska." Like, you hate that when you travel and you see something amazing, and then we're like, "Oh, you should go there." It was the same thing. Like, so I spent 2 weeks on Maui, and I kept telling people because people were like, "Oh, well, you need to see Kauai and Oahu and
Kawhi Leonard."
And I'm just like, "Yeah, whatever." I'm like, "Do we just shut your mouth?" Like, I don't like after I flew 10 hours, Katie. I don't want to jump on more planes and pack my bags and go to some other stupid island for 3 days. Like, I just wanted to enjoy all that Maui had to offer. And by the way, for 2 weeks, it had plenty to offer.
Why do you have to jump on a plane to go to different islands? Isn't that what TC from Magnum PI is supposed to do, is whip you around in his little chopper?
Who
was your butler? Who was your butler? Was it Higgins?
If I had Jeff Bezos's money, I probably would have just jumped in my copper and go over to the next island.
By the way, only the Gen X kids get what I just said.
Yeah, no one knows that. Yeah,
some Gen X kids do.
Yeah, Tom Selleck.
Right?
Yeah,
Simon and Simon on.
Remember the names of the two the dogs he had?
No.
Zeus and Apollo. Zeus, Apollo. Oh, come on.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted.
Now we've gotten the audience down to one person left listening.
It's riveting for that person, though.
Yeah, hang on, it's getting to get better. So Hawaii was great. It's everything you expect: sunsets, waves, golf, Mai Tais, a lot of fish, fish tacos.
Right.
I'll right now. So I was there for about 13, 14 days, Katie. How many orders of fish tacos did I have in that time?
14 days?
Mm-hmm.
You averaged 1.5. So you were up to like low 20s for the fish tacos.
Well, overall, in terms of the total amount of tacos, probably. But I think I had at 7 meals, I had fish tacos. So like every other day, it was like a fish taco day.
Right.
Kind of how it went. So anyways, it was good to be back. It's a long flight. It's an international flight. So it's not one. I hear people that are like, our girl, Michelle Berg, her out of Calgary. We both love Michelle. I think she said she's been to Maui like 7 or 8 times. She loves Maui. And
Baller alert.
Baller alert. It's definitely a shorter flight from Calgary, but like, holy crap, it's still a long flight. Like, I'm not looking to go back anytime soon because of that flight. That's the way it
Yeah,
goes.
that's tough, man.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The audience is crying. They're
I
crying
know.
crocodile tears
It's
for you right now.
like privileged tears are flowing heavily. Okay, we have to talk about better.com
Hit me.
and their CEO, Vishal Garg. So for the uninitiated, as Katie loves to say, if you haven't heard this, you've been under a rock, because better.com CEO decided to announce that the mortgage company, they're a mortgage company, Katie, is laying
Mm-hmm.
off 9% of their workforce. And he got on a Zoom call with what the people thought was the entire team, right? They have about probably 5,000 employees. And so he's up there, he's talking, and then he all of a sudden goes, "So if you're on this call, I'm sorry to tell you, you've been laid off effective immediately," for 900 people right before the holidays. Um, and we'll have Cam put a video link in here so you guys can watch. It's only a 3-minute like termination video, which if we analyze that from an HR perspective, good, make it short, keep it sweet. From the standpoint of 900 in a Zoom call, that is horrific and awful, and you should be hung publicly for that. And he is, in a matter of speaking. But KD, he also goes in that 3 minutes and talks about how the last time he had to do this, he actually broke down and cried. And he hopes he's strong enough this time not to do this.
Yeah.
As he's firing 900 people before the holidays.
Yeah, it's kind of it's not about you at that point. It's like it should never be about you and how hard it is. Whether that's in person or on a Zoom call. I don't like I've tried to challenge myself to say, is there any time where that might be, whether it's over Zoom or whether you do it in mass, like in a big office, is there any time where that's appropriate? And I just couldn't come up with it. Like I couldn't talk myself into it. Could you?
No, you and I have both had to do mass layoffs in our careers in HR, and they're never pleasant, and it's an awful experience to have to go through. But it's one of those things that if you're in HR long enough, you're going to have to go through a layoff. Like that's just an ebb and flow of economic cycles. Working for big companies, this stuff happens, and it's heart wrenching in a lot of ways. And every single time, Katie, whether it's been 50, 100, 1,000, you and I have both been a part of big ones. We found ways to individually get people called and talked to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough people that are left. Now, again, I think the only way that would happen is if you go, well, we have 1,000 people in the company and we're going out of business, and this is going to happen. But like, I've actually been a part of ones where half the company got laid off and the other half just had to pick up like, the baton and go, look, you got to make some calls, you got to
Yeah.
call people and you got to spend time with them and you got to answer their questions. And, you had to do, the training for it. And so I have no idea why. Now, so there were some executives that immediately resigned upon this thing blowing up. And this gives you a little bit of insight
Okay.
to what this is. So head of public relations, VP of communications,
Sure.
VP of marketing.
Yeah.
All resigned within a day of this announcement, which tells you either they had no influence over this dude or they did have influence and they let this go. They let this happen.
Yeah. Let me I just like called some stuff up. Let me give you a couple of notes from this, Tim. Like just in terms of you mentioned that he had alluded to the last time he had to do it, he cried, and he hoped he didn't cry.
Yes.
Got a couple of quotes from this individual. Last name is Garg, correct? Vishal Garg?
Vishal Garg. Yeah.
So he says, some of the quotes is, we lost 100 million last quarter. That's okay. Here's where it gets interesting. That was my mistake. We should have done what we did today 3 months ago. That's what I said to Massa, who's I think the leading investor. That's what I'm saying to you right now. That's what I told my board before. I don't know, like hey, we're losing money. That is clearly a reason. And that's got to be in your talking points. I don't know that you're going to give a lot of comfort saying we should have done today. We should have done what we did today 3 months ago. I'm not from the Hall of Fame there. And I've got one other one for you. Well, this is after the fact, I think. This is Chief Financial Officer Kevin Ryan in a statement said having to conduct layoffs is gut-wrenching, especially this time of year. However, a fortress balance sheet and a reduced yet focused workforce together set us up to play offense going into a radically evolving homeownership market. I originally thought that was like part of the comments online, but it like in the actual session, but it wasn't.
So I got one more. So this dude, and so leading up to this, there's a site out there called Blind, which is kind of like Glassdoor, right? It's anonymous kind of, employee kind of like feedback and stuff like this that happens. So Vishal actually logged in under a pseudonym, but it was confirmed that it was him, and put out there that at least 250 people or a bunch of people were only working 2 hours a day, and they were clocking in for 8 hours and basically into the payroll system and stealing from the company and customers and all this stuff. And then it basically came out, that it was actually, that it was him that said this. So here's a CEO of a 5,000 person company valued at billions of dollars, that here's what he's doing with his time, KD. And there's a part of me that I was like, maybe this dude doesn't get it. And so the recruiter in me, what do? I go to LinkedIn. I want to pull up this dude's profile.
Okay.
I want to see who this guy really is. And let me run you through his LinkedIn profile. And then you and I we've done this with some other people in the past. So this is kind of fun to do. So the name alone, I'm thinking, oh, this dude is, from India. Maybe he just culturally, he doesn't get the US market. And maybe this is the reason this is happening, right? Nope. Went to high school in New York City, graduated from NYU in finance, went to work for Morgan Stanley. He gets it. He gets the US, but he is prototypical New Yorker. So on the second job, here's the write-up that he put in here, right? Starting with $30,000 at age 21, and over a 7-year period, I built the first online student lender in America and took it public in 2005 and grew it to the 4th largest publicly traded student loan company in the United States.
Welcome to The Human Role, your go-to podcast where HR and payroll collide with innovation. I'm your host, Tiana Neal, and every month I'm diving deep with industry experts and change makers, bringing you real talk insights, practical tips, and fresh takes you won't hear anywhere else. Whether you're a leader, practitioner, or just curious about the latest HR and payroll trends, I've got you covered. Ready to roll with the best? Tune in for fresh perspectives, actionable tips, and the knowledge you need to roll forward with confidence. Subscribe now and let's transform the way you work.
So you're already getting a flavor of who this dude is, right?
Right.
It's all about him. It's all about what I do. Everything in here is about, the amount of money and how fast you grew it, into the percentage you grew it, and the capital X that he, and so you just go, he's an asshole. That's just who he is, right? And because only an asshole would go and fire 900 people on a Zoom meeting. Don't you think that's true?
Yeah, I do. I think, when you get into really strong founders and, C-levels, I think, the most valuable thing for anyone in a leadership position is to have people who will tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to wonder like what the conversations were leading up to that. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know enough about the firm and the company to know whether, with some founders and some like CEOs, it's hard, but the best ones surround themselves with people who will tell them the truth. And it would just be super interesting to know what that is. Also, there was some commentary, it says here, like with what I'm reading, that Garg, like in the remarks, like in that little 3 to 4 minutes. I have not listened to it. I think you have also slam partner firms that provide title insurance, homeowners insurance, and life insurance to better customers. You said the title partner was weak and doesn't pride itself on customer service. Tim, this combined with the current, the most recent liquidation at Zoom, right? When they were doing property buying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movement going on in this industry, right?
Yeah.
I think they've had an incredible run during the pandemic up to this point. Seems like it's cooling off a little bit. Yeah. And that people are heading for the exits a little bit, which from a macro perspective is kind of interesting.
Yeah. And especially because the mortgage and real estate industry has been white hot, maybe the hottest it's been in, the history of the real estate over the last 2 years. And so everybody was getting hired in there and getting big money. And, eventually that comes to call because they're cyclical like everybody else. And so just to kind of to put a wrap on better.com. So Vishal, who is their founder and CEO and the board, came out at the end of this week and actually, this morning, and he's taking time off effectively, to really work through, have some third parties, independents come in and kind of measure, what's going on, within the company and all this good stuff. So KD, before we get out of this though, here's why we know that the better places to work stuff is a crock of shit. Number one, on Fortune's best and small, medium places to work in New York City is
better.com. Yeah, it's interesting. I want to do some math here before we leave this. Let's talk about best practices in tough times, Timmy. So the math here, I'm going to get out my calculator. So I'm grabbing my iPhone. And the people listening, follow along on this riveting math.
Yeah, get your markers out for your whiteboard. We're going to do some whiteboard math.
So if you have a long day of this for any leader or manager that has to communicate news, a long day is 30 of these. That's a really long day.
Yes.
Right? That's a 14, 15-hour day.
Yeah.
In half-hour segments. But what I'm building towards is doing it in a one-on-one basis. So if you have 900 people, I'm going to divide it by 20 to make this humane to the people that have to deliver the news. So if you've got 900 people, you have to communicate tough news to. You have, if we divide that by 20, you need 45 people. Yeah. And obviously you don't let them do that alone because you can't. But you have 45 people. And if they impacted 10% of their workforce or 9%, that means they have about 10,000 people. Mm-hmm. And you can find 45 people and a partner to partner with them and observe and help if they get stuck. You just have to project team this thing out, right? Yeah. You find 45 people in HR, comms, you mentioned, the communications leader that left. You can find people. And if you need to, you can bring in some outsourced help. Yeah. To help you communicate that. There's a better way to do it. No pun intended. I actually didn't mean to say that. There's a better way. Yeah, there's a better way to do it. And you just can't take the bait, pandemic or no, you just can't take the bait that you're going to do that. In a pandemic, by the way, let's talk about this. Whether you set up a time to talk to somebody on the phone or whether you set up a Zoom call one-on-one, or with an observer, for all the protection that you need, you still have to crank these out some way, right? There's no substitute for that. We agree on that, don't we?
No. Yeah. And if you have to go see the video. So if you haven't seen it, Google it, find it. It's out there everywhere. It's one of the most amazing 3 minutes of video that you'll watch on bad leadership in the history of leadership. That you can almost tell that about a minute or a half into it, and definitely at the end of it, he realizes that went really wrong. There's almost he's going, how do I get out of this now? How do I turn the Zoom meeting off?
How could you tell at the minute mark or whatever that he had to change just where he thought he was?
Well, you could tell that he didn't really have talking points, right? Because you and I have both been through this. And we've gone through with communications, PR, legal. Like there's drafted talking points that you do not go off from when you're doing a mass layoff like this. And he just went at it from like the gut and started like, he got into it and all of a sudden started talking about himself and then tries to bring it back. And then like, you can tell that there's no talking points.
Yeah.
And then there was also like really no ending besides you should be getting an email from HR. And if you don't, send an email to like, ask HR at better.com or some stupid thing, and then he turns and he's sitting like at his desk, Katie, and the camera is farther away than like the screen on his desk.
Okay.
And then he's like,
probably on a tripod, by the way.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, and then he's kind of like, he's like looking like no one's turning it off. Like, how do I turn this off? Because I'm on this video and I had no plan on how to end this. Like, I've been with executives as they sat on like, not on video, but on phone calls where we actually went through and had them multiple times read the script, go through it. And before we even got on there live, so that they could figure out how to open, how to close, like all of that has an impact to all of this.
You know what you don't want to be is you don't want to be IT support that brought in the camera on the tripod.
Standing there.
Yeah, because when the pressure's on and if any event doesn't go well like that, you don't want to be the the help desk manager that got volunteered by the VP of technology to bring the camera in and to run the technology, because
I understand why they want executives like resign, because it looks like, anybody that would look at that would go, who the hell was your PR and communications team? Like, how did they ever let this happen? And then he'd go, yeah, I didn't like talk to them about this.
which that goes back to the fact that, as a leader, you've got to be able to surround yourself with people that'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And if you create an environment where they won't tell you the truth, you lose an opportunity for somebody to talk you down. Like, it's one of those things where as a leadership team that's swamped, right? Somebody invariably is going to come up with a bad idea.
Yeah.
But then you have experts in PR and comms and HR. And it's really like, do you have an environment where where they feel comfortable standing up to tell you the truth? My gut tells me, and I don't know this, right? Full disclaimer, that at better.com, that environment to tell the truth did not exist.
Katie, there's a part of me that thinks that somewhere along the line, someone probably said like, hey, we should get the 45 people, right, to make these calls and do this personally. And then someone goes, well, wait a minute. If we do that, we're going to have this entire day of people sitting at home, like waiting, not knowing if a phone call is going to come to them or not.
There's not much you can do about that.
Yeah.
But that's the answer, right?
But the answer was, okay, well, we'll just do it all at once. Like someone thought that was a better idea.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's rationalization that seeps in. And then there's still that moment of truth where somebody can like tell the truth. And somebody I know there's like super experienced people there. Somebody has to tell the truth to say, hey, we've been through this before.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you're saying. There is going to be a day where people are going to be uncertain and rumors are going to start flying.
Yeah.
But we're going to knock all this out by the end of the day. And then we're going to send out a communication to say that all of the communication is over to let people breathe a little bit and move on. I mean,
so to me, I think there's a space here where he could have just said, we're going to do an all company meeting and we're going to announce like, hey, to everybody all at once that we're going to have to lay off 9% of our workforce. And throughout the day, today's going to be a really hard day. There's going to be
empathy in that. That's right.
Yeah. There's going to be 900 of you getting a phone call that we don't want to make and you're not going to want to get. And this is the reality. The rest of us who don't get those calls are going to have to support those individuals in life in any way we can, and helping them out. And now everybody feels that, right? And
Can
again,
I give you an alternative?
Yeah.
So the alternative choice, I like that plan. The alternative choice is you do that at the end, the same empathetic call with all the same like talking points that are real that you gave, because in a worst case scenario, the word's only going to get to half the company.
Yeah.
And half the company never had to experience the
Yep.
dread that the call like might be coming. So I like
Yeah,
your plan. And if we were just throwing it around as part of a leadership team, I'd say, well, what about doing that at the end? Because
Yeah.
here's the benefit you get out of that.
Yep.
Rather than putting everybody on notice and like, "Urgh."
I know. No, and I actually had it done where we've been a part of a layoff where at the end, right, there was a big mass call at the end where they said, okay, hey, this happened today. This is done, right? And that we feel. So I think it can work both ways. I'm just trying to think if this dude was so hell bent on getting on a Zoom call, like how do we placate to that and at the same time, make it so that it wasn't the horrendous thing that just happened that we saw over the last week.
Hey, there's a good movie. I'm calling it up now, and it's
Up in the air?
well, no, I mean, I know about Up in the Air, and I mean, everybody loves to play the clips of Up in the Air, but this is a little known movie. Have you ever seen the movie with? Let me see who's in this. Hold on one second. Give me a second. I'm not super prepared. The movie is from 2011, and it's called Margin Call.
I don't think I can't remember seeing that.
So here's who's in it. Jeremy Irons, Kevin Spacey, Demi Moore.
Yep.
And then some character actors. You would know a lot of them. But basically what it follows is the mortgage crisis, Better.com mortgage company, unrelated to that. But it was like in that 2008 bubble.
Yeah.
When people like figured out that they've got this huge problem with mortgages of just not great quality, right?
Yep.
So it's a bank, right? And they've got these investment arms that they don't even know what they've got, and they lay off a guy one day who has all the knowledge, and he gives the keys to like some analysis to his number two.
Mm-hmm.
And his number two like stays late, digs in, and figures out that their company may not exist in a month. So there's an overnight meeting. The reason I'm taking you through this is kind of like leadership team communication.
Yeah.
Like related to what's right and what's wrong. So they meet like literally overnight. They bring everybody in, and the CEO says we have to move in the morning to move all of these securities that will kill us, these investment products that will kill our company before the street knows what's up. And the reason I bring it up, so again, it's Margin Call, Jeremy Irons, Kevin Spacey. If you go see that, most of it is communication, Tim, like across this leadership team about what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And what is
to save the company, basically.
Correct. What is moral? What's not moral? Like, does the end justify the means? And it's related to everything we're talking about, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because by the way, there are Demi Moore and there's one other guy are the people who are really responsible for the thing.
Yeah.
The CEO comes in and says, we got to move. Spacey is kind of the sales arm who will end up selling all these things. He says, we'll never work. Like, we'll never do another trade. Yeah, we'll never do another trade. And meanwhile, the two people who are responsible are just quiet. So it's just really good from a leadership team communication. I guarantee you at Better.com and many companies that struggle with this, there's either really good conversations or there's not.
Yeah.
If there aren't really good conversations where somebody kind of like takes all the advice and takes it in, I guess ultimately the leader's still got to make the call. But I bet some people didn't speak up, right?
Well, yeah, and you and I, don't know Vishal from anybody, and he doesn't know us, but we can assume that there's a kind of a culture there that he did not, people did not feel free enough to come up and say, hey, we cannot do this.
Yeah.
And then when you see, the certain execs that resigned, that kind of speaks to it as well, that that didn't happen because you do not want to be a part of that, from your career going forward.
And how much better would he be viewed right now if they got the honor guard of 45 people in the ride along? And then to your point, you made like my plan better. how much better would everybody look, including him as a leader, if either before or after all that started, all hands meeting, 100% empathy,
Yeah.
Tough day.
Yep.
You said it great. You said, hey, we've got to support these people in their careers and in life. So let's do that. Here's what we've done for them. And it's a tough day. And whether you do that before or after, and then you go treat people with dignity one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's still hard. It's still like bad stuff, but you don't end up like with a 4-part series on Business Insider.
Yeah. Yeah. Katie, like it's almost 2022. How can we still be talking about this kind of crap? I mean, I get one thing, like, hey, it's a leader from Japan that doesn't speak English and he's never been in America and somehow he messes up because culturally he just didn't understand or something like that, right? Stuff like that happens. I get it. This is a guy that grew up in New York City. He's a New Yorker. He went to NYU, went to high school in New York City. Like, he clearly gets the world that we live in.
Yeah,
and
but
somehow felt like this was the correct thing.
You asked your question. I don't know. I felt like you were asking it rhetorically, which I think you were. But
how can we still be doing this in 2022?
The answer is he has not enabled his leadership team to tell him when he is getting ready to hurt both himself and the company. And by the way, that's the path to leaders who want to lead and think they know best, but haven't enabled you. By the way, you get in and say, this is going to be bad for you.
Yeah.
It's bad for the company. But if you think it's bad for the company and you can get past that concern, you have no idea what this is going to do to you.
No. I don't think he can be the CEO anymore. They're going to have to bring in, like, how this goes, right? You know how this gets fixed down the road, right?
But the answer is, like, he did not create an environment where people could tell him the truth, but also where he would value that and say to the HR leader, you know what, Steve, you know what, Mary, you've got like 4 days, like go get it together and do it. And let's meet tomorrow and you tell me how you're going to do it then. Right. I mean, you got to hire good people and take their advice where they're experts. And clearly he didn't do that. Tough.
Yeah. All right.
Is he going to Maui? Is that where he's going?
I'm guessing he's going to some private island, and
I'll try to connect it with our intro.
Contemplating, his time and what he did. And then he'll come back. My guess is this guy is so conceited, he'll come back and try to act like he's learned everything and he's so much better and he'll continue to run the company. And 5 years from now, better.com will be out of business, or purchased by somebody for 5 cents on the dollar, whatever it might be. Because this dude, I don't think gets it. What should happen is he should resign as CEO, stay on as founder, be on the board, but have a real CEO come in, that can actually turn that around.
Somebody should have been doing what we did, which is 900 divided by 20 in a given day.
Exactly.
How many like great empathetic people
do
we have to do this message? And the company with 10,000 people, you've got 45 for sure.
All right. HR famous crew. Don't be better.com. Don't be Vishal Garg.
Actually, be better than better.com.
Be better.
In this regard.
He's Kris Dunn. I'm Tim Sackett. That's another episode. Next week, you got JLee back with Katie for kind of the year-end wrap-up. And we will then be back in January. It's getting right there at the end of the year, Katie. You got your Christmas presents bought for the boys and your wife?
I'm prepared, Tim.
I know you are. Amazon's.
I've been working on it. I've been working on it for 3 months. Come on.
Nice. So tell me, what's the big gift? What are you getting them? They don't listen to this. Let's just come on.
No, I'm not doing that. It's still Santa in our household.
It's still
21
Santa.
21 and 18 still believe in Santa. It's the magic of the season.
Yep. All right, crew. Enjoy the holidays. We're out. See you.